Welcome to Retire Smart Louisiana. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Gary Pouwels of Retire Smart Louisiana. To our viewers at home, you know the retirement storm is upon us, but the question is, where are you going to go to take shelter? How do you keep yourself safe when that storm hits? Well, each and every week, Gary shares information with you about how you can retire comfortably, with confidence, and most importantly, keeping you sheltered in the storm. Gary, how are you today?
I'm doing great, and it looks like you're doing great too. You always have that energy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, you always look dapper, and I'm so excited about just being with you and sharing more information to our viewers at home. Last week, I learned a new word, lagniappe. Any new ones today?
I'm gonna take it easy today on you.
Okay. It was fun to learn that, though. But we've talked about so many things that affect people, of course, in retirement. And one of the things that I know that you feel people are burdened with, of course, is debt.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you a little bit, what are some traps that people get caught in, if you will, when they're struggling with debt? Any common traps overall?
Oh, yeah. Credit card debt is a really bad one. People will ignore it until it builds up and it gets out of hand. And then the next thing you know, they come see us and they want us to help them. So that's a real problem. But one of the biggest things is ignoring the savings. And I tell people all the time, look, if you get a raise at work, think about how much you could put towards saving versus how much you want to keep for yourself and just go blow it. Because bottom line is, we need to start saving sometime. You know, believe it or not, 60% of people going into retirement are going to have a shortfall.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, they might do okay in the first few years, and then if they lose their spouse and they lose one of those Social Security benefits, they were banking on paying their bills and living a certain lifestyle banked off of both Social Security benefits plus whatever they saved. And a lot of people just don't do that. They don't have a plan in place whatsoever. And that's probably one of the biggest mistakes. You know, Tony Robbins once said that 70% of all Americans are going to retire and struggle during retirement.
70%.
And that kind of hit me hard because I thought to myself, that can't be right. But then when you think about it, most people go into retirement with less than $100,000 in savings. And in today's world, $100,000 is nothing compared to what it used to be 20 years ago.
No, not when you factor in long-term care costs and everything else,
goodness.
Gary. That's terrifying.
You know, I did a survey on that, and it kind of blew me away. I pulled up every state and the long-term care cost and what it was, you know, differently from one state to the next. And it's just unbelievable. I mean, the lowest I've seen is probably $5,000, and I've seen it as high as $15,000, $20,000 a month. You know, you're sitting on $100,000 and you go,
wow.
You might as well just hand it over to Uncle Sam, because bottom line is you're going to go on Medicaid if you got to go in a nursing facility.
Yeah.
And then they're going to take the house.
Absolutely.
It's a sad, that's one of the mistakes, you know, and that's debt. That's basically debt. You're going in debt with the government because you made some bad mistakes. You didn't make the right choices. You didn't start saving early. And look, most people should put away up to 20% of what they bring into the household for savings.
Okay.
You know, I talked about this on one of the other shows, the 60-20-20 rule, and the last 20% is savings. And that's hard to do for a young couple that just got married, they got kids, they're going to school, they got to pay for college and all. It's tough. It's not easy. But I tell everybody, I don't care if it's $100 a month. If you can afford to put $100 away a month, put it away and play like it's a bill. And if you put it in a tool that grows tax-free, it can amass to a good bit of money over, you know, several years.
Sure.
So don't think that putting a little bit of money away is not going to do any good, you know. And
every little bit helps.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing. We all need some type of emergency fund, too.
That's true.
And I tell everybody as well that you should have 30% of your salary that you make in a year as an emergency fund. Because today, just, you know, the deductibles on our insurance, if we have a hurricane comes into Louisiana, which we get them all the time,
sure,
the deductible could be $20,000. And if you don't have that money for the deductible, then you got a problem. So you've got to be prepared.
Absolutely.
You know, just like the Boy Scouts say, be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yep.
You know, you've talked in the past, Gary, about the importance of when someone's spending a raise versus investing it. When someone gets that bump in their paycheck, they spend every dollar versus tucking it away. Talk a little bit about that and financial liabilities overall.
Yeah, especially, look, if your financial liabilities haven't changed and now you got this extra money, why go blow it?
Exactly.
Go ahead and tuck it away. You're going to need it in the future, and it's going to help you throughout retirement. It's just a smart decision to do that. It's that little extra lanyard, you know?
It's a lanyard.
So bottom line is, you know, and everybody in Louisiana knows what lanyard is. It's always the extra. Well, that's how retirement should be. You should always have a little extra because you don't know what the future holds.
Makes sense.
You know, we've all been in a situation where something out of the blue happens to us and hits us and we're blindsided.
Yeah.
And we're not prepared. And that's why Tony Robbins says about 70% of all Americans go into retirement not prepared, not having enough money. And we're living longer.
And we're living longer. And what about the importance? I know this is different across the country, but keeping up with the Joneses. We hear that all the time, like so-and-so has this, so I need this, and I've got to get this. I mean, talk about that in retirement. Can that be detrimental?
Oh, absolutely. Here's the thing. You know, years ago when I was young, I wanted everything that everybody else had.
Of course.
I wanted it, you know.
Yes.
Today, those things mean nothing to me anymore.
Yeah.
I want what's best for my children and my grandchildren, you know, and my clients. So bottom line, you know, we have changes in our life and our lifestyles along the way. But sometimes people don't change. Sometimes people live right next door to a neighbor that just loves to blow money. And 90% of the time, that individual that's blowing all that money on the brand new cars and the additions and the swimming pools and this and that and upgrading the house, they're broke.
Absolutely.
Because they're living like the Joneses, you know? And if you do that, you're only hurting yourself. Look, we're not taking all the stuff with us when we leave this earth. We're not.
It's true.
I would prefer to leave a little bit behind for my children and my grandchildren than to drive around in a $200,000 automobile, you know, that drives the same as an automobile that cost me $40,000, $50,000. It just doesn't make any sense.
Very true.
So same thing with jewelry, all those kind of things. You're not taking it with you.
It's so
It's nice
true.
to have, it's pretty, it's shiny, but it doesn't get you through retirement.
No.
It might stop you from going through retirement because you overspent.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. That's reality.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, it's true. Well, Gary, there's a very special message that you have for our viewers today. Spend a little bit of time talking about what that is before we take our first commercial break, please.
Absolutely. Look, folks, you can go to our site right now and you can plug in rslegacyquiz.com. Do it on your computer. Go to the top bar. Do not go to the search engine because no telling what you're going to get, because I did that one time and it went all over the place. But that tool right there is absolutely free to you. And it's going to identify where your weak areas are of concerns. It could be something as little as you need a will, you need a trust, you need to start planning for your family. You plan for your legacy because the bottom line is we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And it's also going to show you your weak spots and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So please go to rslegacyquiz.com, and you can also call 888-568-1755. Reach out to us and retire smart, Louisiana.
Gary, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, once again, that website is rslegacyquiz.com, rslegacyquiz.com. And if you're looking to book a one-on-one consultation with Gary, please don't miss the opportunity to call in 888-568-1755. Once again, 888-568-1755. We know the retirement storm is upon us, and where are you going to go to take shelter? We believe that you should take shelter in what Gary can design for you. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break on Retire Smart Louisiana. Don't go anywhere.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Louisiana. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Gary Pouwels of Retire Smart Louisiana. Because we know the retirement storm is upon us, we want you to take shelter. Every week we talk about the importance of planning for your retirement, and this week we talked about debt in our first segment. Well, this next segment, we're going to talk about people that go to the internet and could get confused by what they find there. And Gary, honestly, that's not overwhelmingly surprising to me when you think about it. I mean, anytime you even have an ache or a pain, you go to WebMD and you try to diagnose what's going on. I always pick the worst case scenario.
And you're not a doctor.
Right? I work my way back. But it's true for just everything. People get so confused when they're trying to find answers to their problems with retirement. Do you agree?
I agree. And look, I actually tour a lot of these websites to see what people put out there. And sometimes it causes overthinking. And I call it financial shutdown. People get scared.
Yes.
And once you're frightened, because fear is real, you know, and you're afraid you're going to make a mistake and put yourself in a position where you're not going to get through retirement. You're going to fail at some point. And that's why it's extremely important that you contact someone that's a specialist, and that's what they do for a living. You know, I'm not going to go do something crazy like, you know, work on the space shuttle because I don't know nothing about it, you know?
Right.
So I'm just not going to do that. And people, if you don't have any experience, you know, with your finances, you probably need to see a specialist and a tax guy and so on and so on. You go to the professionals when you need help. And I find that a lot of times people fear that. They're afraid to take that first step. And if you don't make the first step, you're not gonna fix the problems you have. And you won't even know if you have any problems, number one. Because we get people that come into the door all the time and they think everything's perfect. I got the greatest plan on earth. And then when I start going through that plan, I say, well, you know, you got a problem here, you got a problem here, you got a problem here. And they're like, what? Well, my lawyer told me I didn't need a trust. Really? Well, your children are gonna need it. And what do you mean by that? And I said, your wife's going to need it, and you're going to need it, because when you go away from this earth, you're going to go through probate. There's going to be some things that you're going to need. So you have to start planning ahead of time. You can't wait till the last minute. Wasting time is a big issue when it comes to financial planning. We all have a time horizon, and ours gets shorter and shorter every day. And the closer you get to retirement, the less I can do to help you. And that's the truth. And it's not just me. It's all the planners, all the retirement specialists that are out there trying to fix people's problems. It would be so much easier if they took that first step when they're a little bit younger, when they start seeing, hey, I'm getting closer to retirement, I better go see somebody and talk to them about, am I going in the right direction? Am I using the right investment tools? Should I switch up a little bit? Should I start looking at income streams? Should I start looking at tax-free investments? All these things are key to success in retirement. And like I said, here's the problem. I cannot change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust your sails. And that's key to success. Good. You know, it really is. And people don't understand, look, this market's up, down, it's all over the place. And we can't change that direction. It's going to happen. But you can put yourself in a position so you can, you know, pretty much go through that storm and not be affected. You got to have a balanced portfolio. And without a balanced portfolio, you're going to get in trouble. And that's a part of life, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Sure. Makes perfect sense. One of the other things you talk about is never building discipline is a problem. Oh, absolutely. Talk a little bit about discipline. Yeah. You know, it's hard to have discipline when it comes to finances. You know, sometimes you make a decision to do something, and then all of a sudden something comes along and you got to spend the money elsewhere. True. So a lot of times what people try to do is they'll say, look, I'm going to set aside $500 a month, and I don't care what comes up, I'm putting that $500. That's discipline. That's real discipline. But what happens is something comes up and say, hey, look, you know, that new shotgun I wanted, it's on sale right now. Instead of putting that $500 away this month, I'm going to put it towards the shotgun I want. That's not discipline. Right. Okay? What that person should do is say, I'm going to save the extra money on the side for that shotgun, and when it comes on sale, I won't have to go into my savings, all right? Because that's reality. When things happen, you make changes automatically. You don't think about it, just do it.
Exactly.
You know? And expenses are going to come up, so you really have to be disciplined.
Sure.
And here's the other discipline that's very tough for all of us. Telling your children no when you're in retirement and you're living on a fixed income and they come to you and say, hey, I need $2,000. Can you buy this new car for me? All these kind of things. I hear it all the time.
Yes.
And if you don't have that discipline, you're going to give in. And who's it going to hurt? You.
That's true.
Not your children.
That's true. And you're right. That's a hard lesson to learn.
It is.
Because you want to do what, yeah, I know. I get it. What about fearing failure instead of learning from it? Talk a little bit about that. Fearing failure instead of learning from it.
That's an excellent one, because here's the thing. We all make mistakes, you know, and it's inevitable. We're going to make more mistakes in life. But that's how you lessons learned, you know. And if you don't learn from those lessons, from the mistakes you made, then you got a real issue, okay? You shouldn't fear it. You should say, okay, I need to move on. I made that mistake. Let's fix the problem and move on. And it's the same thing with your finances. Look, you might have invested in something that you lost money in. Just don't keep that money in there thinking that it's going to come back. If you just constantly see it going down, going down, going down, you need to stop the bleed eventually, because you're going to run out of money. And, you know, that's a fear I think everybody has.
Sure.
You know, you get all the way to retirement, you built up this big old nest egg.
Yeah.
And if you don't make the right decision, or if you make the wrong decision, okay, it could affect your portfolio. So that fear is powerful. And that's where we come in and say, look, you don't have to fear this. Let's put some balance, checks and balances in the system. So if this one fails, this one's going to succeed, and so on and so on. You got to strategize. And if you don't strategize in retirement, you're going to fail.
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
Absolutely. This one is so important. I want to definitely make time for this one. Not taking action, Gary, because of self-doubt. Talk a little bit about that. Self-doubt. What do we mean by that?
Well, you know, like I said before, we've all failed at things in our lives.
Yes.
So we feel like we're not the perfect person, and we're going to make some bad mistakes along the way. But here's the thing. If you do your research and you meet with the right person and they point you in the right direction, that doubt goes away, okay?
It's true.
But you have to take that first step to meet with that person, all right? That's where we come in, folks. Bottom line is you've got that opportunity to do it. We've got the tools on the screen now. You know the phone number. You can call that 888 number, 568-1755. Get rid of that doubt. Come see us. We're going to fix your problems, and we're going to make certain that you're secure, you're successful, and you're going to be well diversified. That's when the doubt goes away.
Most definitely, Gary. Thank you so much to our viewers at home. Gary mentioned that number is on your screen, and that number is 888-568-1755. Entering the retirement years, you should not have self-doubt. You should not have anxiety. You should have peace of mind. And how do you get that? You have the right financial advisor in your corner. How do you reach him? 888-568-1755. There are several tools on the website right now that are so exciting and so easy for you to use. If you're on the fence and you're not sure if you're ready to retire, suggestion would be go to the rsretirementquiz.com. That's rsretirementquiz.com. Put in a little information about yourself, and what you'll find is a report that lets you know exactly where you stand today. Gary will get in touch with you, and if it's time to make some changes, there's no better time than right now before the retirement storm hits. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Retire Smart Louisiana. Don't go anywhere. I have so much more with Gary when we return.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Louisiana. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Gary Pouwels of Retire Smart Louisiana. And we know the retirement storm is upon us, but again, where are you going to go for shelter? Where are you going to stay out of that storm? We know you're going to pick up the phone and work with Gary because he's here for you. So Gary, I have to ask you overall, I know that you're so passionate about helping people in the viewing area. My question is, how do you help your clients make wise decisions?
It's the tools we use. Okay, we start off with gathering their information. We look at how much debt they have. We look at Social Security benefits, pensions. We look at whether they have a will, whether they have trust. We look at drop money that people get from working with, the Teachers Association or other, different types of programs. It doesn't matter where the money's coming from. We look at all those things. And we also look at capital gains, taxes, appreciation value of existing assets. That's a big one. A lot of people don't realize that's part of legacy planning, because let's say you bought a piece of property for $60,000 20 years ago, and now it's all of a sudden it's worth $250,000. Well, if you make the mistake of handing that over to your children, you lost that step-up basis. Now they're going to pay the taxes based off of $250,000. But if you have it in your legacy plan, okay, basically it gets passed on to them at the same price you paid for it.
Wow.
So that makes a huge difference.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
And all these things, look, a lot of people like to give charity gifts, to churches or whatever. A lot of people don't know that if you're over age 70 and a half, okay, that basically you could give up to $108,000 a year out of your IRA, tax-free.
Wow.
So a lot of people that are going to leave money behind for charitable organizations, and it was already in their plans, we can help them with that. And then also, you may want to do some gifting to your children before you get to that point of retirement. You can start it early if you want. And your kids are not going to pay any taxes at all on that. And we can also use college fund plans. There's so many things that we can do.
Yeah.
And as we're gathering all this information, we figure out what's the best direction for our clients to go in. But we always look at the areas that need improvement, and we attack them first. The areas that they're doing good in, I'll leave them alone. If it's working, why fix it,
True.
And if it's a good plan that somebody else put together, I tell them stay with it. I don't force anybody to move anything unless I think I can fix the problem. And that's the way you really should work with your clients, because it's not about you, it's about them,
It's true.
And I tell people that all the time. Look, don't be afraid when you come to see us, because we're not out to get your money, because we get that all the time. Well, are you going to take all my money? I'm not going to take none of your money.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we help you secure your money. I don't know why financial planners have that rap, but it's out there. So I guess some people in the past have put money with some planners, and some kind of way they lost money, or the planner made some kind of mistakes that should have been fixed, and they didn't fix them. But anyway,
That happens, but you also help people make wise decisions with their pensions. And what about Social Security strategy? Because that's a big one too, Gary.
Yeah. Well, it all depends on the person's situation. Some people are sitting on a lot of money and they want to retire early. And if I don't have to turn their benefits on to their age 67 or full retirement age, I try not to, okay, because they get that increase. But let's say a person has health issues and they just hit 62. And if you look at their family history, everybody died in their early 60s. Well, I tell them, let's take your benefits now, because you have the other income coming in from your spouse. They're not going to retire for another 5 or 6 years, whatever it may be. Let's turn yours on now. Take the benefits while you can, because they understand, look, retirement, it's not a game. I mean, it's actually work to put a plan together. And that work has to be right, because I don't pull punches with retirement. And some people tell me I'm a little over serious sometimes, which I can be.
But that's
I love to joke around, but here's the thing. I don't like playing with people's money. And I tell people this all the time. People come in and they say, well, my broker put me in this, and my broker put me in that. And I said, Well, do you understand what you're in? No. I trust him. I said, okay, let me ask you a question. If you got $100,000 and you walked into the casino and some guy walked up to you and said, hey, look, let me roll the dice for you. Let me take your money and go play with it. Would you let him do that? Absolutely not.
No.
But that's what you're doing.
Wow.
You're literally doing that, especially if you don't know what he's rolling the dice in.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you don't know what he's invested you in or you don't understand it, you don't need to be in it. When I sit down with my clients, I don't put them in anything unless the husband and wife is sitting there. And I go over, look, I get it all the time. One person will come in and say, look, I went over everything with you, but I'm not closing anything. I'm not finalizing anything. I'm not moving any money. I'm not doing anything until your spouse is here.
Wow, that's
Well,
great.
they don't get involved in that. I said, well, let me tell you something. What happens if you pass away tomorrow? And I invested all this money for you, and I never ever talked to your spouse. She is now at the mercy of me.
Yes.
Okay? She knows nothing about what you invested your money in, and you didn't tell her. And your idea is, well, I've always done it all my life, and I never really got her involved in it, and I really don't need to get her involved. No, yes, you do. She's your spouse for a reason. You're supposed to take care of her. And by taking care of her, she needs to learn what she owns. And that's the problem we see all the time with the clients that are coming in for the first time.
Sure.
They have no clue as to what they own. If you don't know what you own, you shouldn't own it. You know?
And so many people are confused because, like you said, they've had something maybe for so long that someone, I don't know, guided them to or sold them, and they have no idea what's even in that statement.
It happens all the time, you know, and that's why it's so extremely important to get a second opinion. I mean,
Yes.
if you got an ailment and you go to the doctor and he tells you, we're going to have to do surgery, are you going to just believe that doctor and it's the first time you saw him, or are you going to go get a second opinion?
Second opinion.
Absolutely. And it's the same thing with retirement. You need to get that second opinion, because if you feel uncomfortable about what the guy is telling you that you're sitting down with, it's time to move on.
Gary, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, if you're questioning if you're in the right hands or you're not sure where you're going with your retirement, make sure to visit rsretirementquiz.com. Once again, that's rsretirementquiz.com. Put in a little information about yourself. Gary will be in touch with you, and he can help design a plan that's going to suit your retirement needs. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. Thank you for spending time with us today on Retire Smart Louisiana. Who dat? Go Tigers. We'll see you back 1 week from today. Take care now.